Good evening. You're wondering, aren't you, why did we leave these stairs here? Well, we had them installed so that I can invade you. Of course, it's a Julian Cope solo show, so there are several hundredweight of gear on stage. It always will be used throughout, though I am the Johnny Ramone of Mellotron. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to say good evening, and it's really nice to be here in glamorous Stockton-on-Tees. Now, I'm not sure that I'm even being funny there, because it's just the difference between a simple on or an add a V and it becomes Von Tees. And then suddenly becomes the lesser known sibling of Dieter Von Tees. I really like that Stockton-on-Tees, all his I like his early albums. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to confess to all of you that I'm in the middle of writing a book that is really killing my soul, crushing me down. But that's fair enough, because I was an asshole for taking it on. And I will emerge with the information eventually. But the name of this new book is called Lives of the Prophets, A New Perspective. Religious patriarchs across the world are blanching as they hear that new perspective. So I figured that what I should do is I should really interface with all the original prophets the way they wished, because as I say, it's always important to accept the artist's metaphor. So if you're going to write about Jesus, you've got to get into that kind of Jerusalem latitude, that mentality. If you're going to write about Muhammad, you've got to get into that Medina mentality. Yeah! A solo voice laughs at the very idea of Medina mentality. Well, madam, do you know how I decided to get to it? I'd read that the Quran was a lot like Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce. For fuck's sake! But of course I have to read it and look into it and get down into it. How do we approach this as a Western male, ladies and gentlemen? The first thing I did was I took acid. My 50th birthday, a couple of years ago, and I was thinking, I'm a psychedelic artiste. I've not interfaced with the great lysergic dimension for many years. But if it's a 50-year-old man, I felt an obligation. Who, if it's not Julian Cope taking acid on his 50th birthday, who the fuck is? I got a sense of obligation. World obligation, ladies and gentlemen. So, of course, what I did was, I forgot to back off. I got 2 divine sugar cubes and I had them, and I interfaced with Odin and Thor all around Avebury. Flying I was for 16 hours. But then I got a little smug, ladies and gentlemen. I thought, now I have to go a little deeper to really get into the entire Finnegan's Wakiness of Ye Quran. So I did a little research, and I heard of a shamanic Mexican drug, which you all have heard because it's perfectly legal, and it's called salvia. Yeah. So I spoke to a few people, and they said, "Oh, do this amount. No, do this amount. No, do this amount. Make sure you're wearing a lot of clothes when you take it." Why would that be, says I? Only I took it at 8 o'clock in the morning after a hearty breakfast. Took a shamanic dose The salvia took me, squeezed me, hurled me into a thorn bush, and I couldn't walk for 3 days. This is true. It's amazing, isn't it? So I got up. For 3 days, well, all I could describe myself was salad with attitude. But the weirdest one was that I couldn't drive for 3 months. And that was the scary thing. I just lay there, scared of anything to do with technology. Even an acoustic guitar seemed a little bit sort of, presumptuous to go near. So anyway, the reason that I'm saying this big preamble is that this is a coach show and, you want to learn a certain amount. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a song, which is a song about that salvia experience, because it took me a while to get out of it. This is a song called Julian in the Underworld. There's so much technology up here. I have to be very careful that I don't just go off half-assed, totally unaware. It's quite good having the audience further away and in the dark, because if I could see any of you, I'd be already necking with every one of you. Yes, that's the problem with writing a book, ladies and gentlemen. You become totally sociopathic. Okay, this is Julian in the Underworld. And I can't pretend to know what's going on. And I can't pretend to know what's going on. And I can't pretend to know what's going on. Caution to the wind, what else could we do? For those who never sinned, the song cannot renew. And I can't pretend to